My internship was at Dickerson Park Zoo over winter break, December 16th to January 5th, with a little under a week off for Christmas break. My general responsibilities were we started at 7:30 a.m. and met in the commissary across from my little house. There's a schedule that tells you what area you're in, either reptile, Africa, Missouri habitat, South America, or elephants. You find your corresponding zookeeper and you arrive to the enclosure, and a lot of your duties entail cleaning. There are schedules to tell you if you need to scrub or disinfect, and then when you're done, you either go around and feed the animals, or it might be switched. You fed first and then clean after. Depending on the area, you might just be cleaning the whole time until 10:30 for the morning meeting. At morning meeting, everyone comes together, the veterinarians, all the zookeepers from each area, and they talk about any treatments any animals are going through. One of the tigers, Petra, was having a cough, so she wasn't allowed to have any bones, and to make sure that every zookeeper and anyone who's working with the animals knows what is going on with these animals. After morning meeting, you would usually go back to a different area that you haven't cleaned, or you'd go around and feed the animals, the remaining animals that you didn't get before morning meeting, until lunch, which was usually about 1 to 2, depending on which area you're in and how much work was needed in that area that day. And then after lunch, you would usually go and give the night food to all the animals in your area, so like night hay for the elephants, or their second meals for the lions, or any other miscellaneous tasks for that day. So my general responsibilities were, most of it was cleaning. So like scrubbing, you would spray with the hose the whole area, and then you'd either scrub or disinfect, and then spray again. And then once the whole area is clean, usually you would provide the enrichment for the animals. So for the elephants, we would fill the higher up barrels and with food like pears and apples and carrots and popcorn, just providing different enrichment for them to eat and giving them their night hay and setting them all up for the night. Cleaning was a big part of it, so all animals need their enclosures cleaned, but enrichment was a big part, and feeding, all of that takes a really long time, and making sure that these animals have adequate access to water and food and temperatures at night, if they need to be locked in or not, and giving them stimulation and switching things up. Other responsibilities, there's one day we helped make like a wolf for the main wolves, so when they get weight checked that they can't run away, to build like a barrier. So we did that in the maintenance shop. There's other little stuff, boards that needed replacement, whatnot, that if those needed to be done, those are also part of your duties. Just really anything that needed to be done that day. Like we were sanded the petting zoo. One day I had to help clean out the hay barn. I had to help bring stacks to the elephant enclosure and kind of clean up the hay barn almost. Like we like raked it, and one of the zookeepers used like the machine to plow everything. So it was a lot of maintenance work and cleaning and feeding, but you still got to see some fun things, and it wasn't just maintenance work. Obviously a lot of it is going to be that, but you also do get to witness a lot of cool things, especially if you work hard and get your stuff done. Another interesting thing I got to do is me and another zookeeper got to make hanging enrichment for the Siamang Kaylee. So the zookeeper climbed on top, and we hosted up the ropes, and he clipped them back up so she would have new ropes to swing from the summer. One of the really cool things that I got to do at the Dickerson Park Zoo was to witness the wolf exams. So yearly, most mammals get a yearly checkup from the vet at the zoo, and so it was time for the wolves to get theirs. So I got the opportunity to hold the door open while they tried to get the wolves to run inside, and it required a lot of arm strength. And then I got to witness all 6 of the wolves receive their exams, and how like the team got to work together, and how they handle the animal safely and administer the medicines and nail trimmings and weigh them properly safely. And it was a really cool opportunity to get to be that close to wolves. I actually got to give front line to one of the wolves, a Zool, so I got to touch and be close to a wild animal, which was a really cool opportunity to experience. Another really cool thing I got to witness at Dickerson Park was the main wolf had her pups, and I got to see the changes that occurred. We had to be more cautious around the enclosures that were around the main wolf, not to spook her or cause any distress. and it was just really cool to get to see the little pups on the monitor. And I think the biggest advantage of being at Dickerson Park was that I didn't just have one specific area that I worked in. I got to work in a whole bunch of different areas of animals and explore different opportunities and different zookeepers and different methods that things were done, and just got to see an array of how the zoo is run. And since Dickerson Park is so much smaller, I really got an opportunity to witness how the zoo really does run and what it takes for things to run smoothly, and that communication is key. And just having like the smaller knit community, I feel like I had more at an advantage than I would have at a bigger zoo. I think the biggest disadvantage for being at Dickerson Park Zoo is that smaller zoos get less money, and that limits their abilities to be able to do things for the animals without grants. And I know there's a lot of ideas a lot of the zookeepers had, but the funds just weren't there just because of how small they were. And like my housing was outside, which I didn't have an issue with, but I know some people preference they might not want the outside housing, they might request the inside housing, so that might be one thing to look at your internships is housing, if there'd be outside or inside, because I did have to walk outside after showering and whatnot, and I know some people don't like to do that. My advice for those looking for internships is to take better pictures, because creating this presentation was very hard with the pictures that I took, but also to ask questions and to never not ask a question because you think it's stupid, because the zookeepers want to teach us and they want to help you learn. And there's a lot of things that I wish I would have asked and just spoke up and wasn't so scared. Another thing is to be prepared to be sore. There's a lot of arm muscles that I never used when I was at the zoo. We had to resand the whole petting zoo, which took a lot of arm strength, and I was very sore. The next day I couldn't even turn the doorknob. So just be prepared to be sore and to be waking up early and to be having long days. And that some days it might just be cleaning because it's a really messy day, or it might just be little minute tasks that you feel like aren't helping, but you just have to keep in mind that you are helping the zookeepers so they don't have to do those small tasks, so that they can go do bigger tasks for the animals and to help them. And just to remember that you're here for a bigger purpose. You're not just cleaning up animal poop and waste and stuff like that. You're helping them be able to do other things for the animals that they wouldn't be able to do without you. To try to keep a positive mindset the whole time, even though it can be really hard some days. Responsibilities of the intern are to be timely, to make sure you show up on time and you're not late, and to be willing to put in work. If you take a really long time to clean the giraffe enclosure, then you're not going to get to see anything else that day because you're going to be stuck cleaning the giraffe enclosure. But if you can work hard and get your stuff done, you'll be more likely to be able to see some really cool things, maybe an exam or a feeding or something that you don't usually do. To not post anything on social media, you need to talk to whatever internship you have and see what their social media rules are, and just always have a positive mindset and to be professional, because you are upholding the zoo, and these people, this is their livelihood, this is their jobs, and to respect that and just to be very respectful, even if they ask you to do things you don't really like to do, you're here to help them. My contact information will be listed on the next couple of slides. If anyone has any questions or concerns about the internship. My process of getting this internship was relatively easy. When we went to Dickerson Park for a trip for the intro class with Dr. Strout, I actually filled out an application, and this was before the summer for the winter break internship. So if you apply early enough, it's first come, first serve. It's relatively pretty easy internship to get into, especially if finances are an issue for you because they don't charge for housing. You just have to supply your food, and they're even more than willing to drive you to the local Walmart to do so. They're very flexible with how long you have to stay and when you can come, and it's a relatively easy internship that you don't have to stay for a really long time. It's very flexible and works with your schedule.